In this video, we provide an overview of the ESG assessment methodology from Moody's ESG Solutions. So Moody's ESG assessments adopt a double materiality approach and measure the extent to which companies are managing ESG factors that can impact both their business as well as their stakeholders. The assessments build to an overall ESG score, which is set on a scale of 0 to 100 and provides underlying E, S, and G scores, as well as subscores on a framework made out of 38 ESG factors. The assessments themselves are analyst and engagement driven. So we have a named analyst behind each assessment that we develop. And whilst it's not compulsory, we do seek to engage with all of the companies that we assess in order to bolster the quality and transparency of our final assessments. In terms of the deliverables, we provide individual reports for each company, and these include both the quantitative information, so the scores, as well as the qualitative information, which is the analysis, as well as benchmarking information to gauge that relative performance. And we also provide data files that provide that quantitative view really across the full universe of companies that we assess across Europe, North America, the Asia Pacific region, and emerging markets. On this slide, you have a view of the 38 underlying ESG factors that compose our methodology. So you'll see that the range of ESG factors is broad and really covers business stakeholders like consumers, customers, suppliers, the workforce, shareholders, communities, as well as the environment itself. For each of the 40 sectors that we analyze, we determine the extent to which these factors are material, as naturally different sectors will face different risks and opportunities. And on average, around 24 of these ESG factors are assessed for each one of our sectors. Now, in order to determine which of those 38 factors are actually material, we adopt what I call a double materiality approach, whereby we determine the extent to which a company is putting stakeholders at risk in their management of this factor, but also the extent to which a company might face business risks should they fail to manage the factor. So that risk could materialize in impacts to the operational efficiency of the company, impacts towards human capital, retention, attractivity as well. This could materialize in the form of legal risks, so fines and penalties, and also reputational damage to the company. When that assessment process is over, factors with a high and moderate materiality level, these are the ones that have the highest impact on the scoring, and factors with a low or immaterial level of materiality, these are not assessed by our analysts as they pose marginal risks to the company and to its stakeholders. How then do we actually analyze one of those factors like corruption or diversity and inclusion or biodiversity? So we systematically apply a three-part assessment approach, looking at what we call a company's leadership, its implementation, and its results. So within leadership on, let's say, corruption, we'll be looking to understand the company's policies, the targets that it's set, as well as the management structures that oversee that commitment. Within implementation, we look past those commitments and really look to analyze the specific actions that are being undertaken by the company. So are they undertaking training or risk assessments, for example? And then finally, within the results pillar, we look to analyze the key performance indicators, as well as the presence of any ESG controversies on that risk factor. So this three-pillar approach that we use systematically across those factors really gives us a holistic view on the overall management approach for the company, the direction they've set, the actions they take, and the outcomes. Now, whilst our assessments take place within a set time period, through our ESG alerts service, we make continuous calibrations to our scores in the event of a major controversy or other event that might take place outside of that assessment period. And finally, all of the scores that we express, whether that's at the overall level or on the ESG factor level, are expressed on a scale of 0 to 100. It's then through that systematic three-pillar analysis of those factors that our underlying scores are built. So that overall ESG score is based on the weighted average of all of those factor scores. And again, as mentioned, they are further calibrated in the event of ESG controversies. Each company report that we produce provides that qualitative analysis, enabling the reader to understand the rationales behind the factor scores, as well as benchmarking information to enable the user to understand what's the relative level of performance of the company on a given factor when compared to its sector peers. And then finally, as mentioned earlier, we also provide all of this information in the form of Excel files and Excel data feeds that provide that view on the full universe of companies, and that universe is something that continues to expand year on year. Thank you very much.